Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Spittin Hoops, episode 27. Who knew we'd get here? Honestly, I was pretty confident. I was feeling myself. But here we are discussing the opening week of the NBA season. Earlier today, we posted our full NBA season preview, which might be a little out of date. Just small disclaimer, that got posted a little late compared to the recording time. But we got a lot of content, 3.5 hours of content in there for you guys. Anthony, how's your recovery going? Because that was a long recording session over 2 days.
Oh man, we were in the lab, bro. We were cooking.
We were cooking.
So, and you know what? We do this for the fans, and we do this for ourselves. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah,
it's great. But definitely a fun 3 hours long, 3 hours, and then so many games, man. Just recently, like watching all these random games. Portland, Philadelphia yesterday, Sacramento, Lakers. So many good matchups. So many, just amazing, bro. It's great to be back.
It's so nice. It feels so good, and like it's nice because in the beginning of the season, there's like the naivety of like everyone's trying to win. Like you don't know if you're going to be bad yet.
Right.
You know, it's not like in January where like the Trailblazers might have packed it in already, you know? So all these games are honestly super fun to watch. We're going to get right into all of that. We're going to talk about who's hot, who's not, give some hot takes as we usually do. But first, we're going to start with some overreactions. And I'm going to start with the Golden State Warriors. 2-1. One kind of, tough loss. So be it. But Chris Paul looks fantastic coming off the bench, 4th in the league in assists per game, averaging around 9 a game. Coming off of a game where Steph Curry basically just destroyed the Houston Rockets, as he does. Made Dylan Brooks into a meme on Twitter, which is fantastic. Overall, I would feel worse about starting with my team, but we look nice. Kuminga looks good. Moody looks good. We have like 10 NBA players, which has been a while since I feel like we've been able to say that.
Bro, you guys look great. I was actually just looking up Steph's averages against the Rockets. 24, 7, and 4. I don't think that speaks to how badly he has just terrorized that franchise for as long as the decades can remember, really. Yeah, y'all look good. Very early, but that was a very convincing sort of like, okay, we're here, we're chilling. I like the flow of CP3, and Kuminga looks all right. Kuminga looks good.
It's like all these guys I feel like now can like take up playoff minutes when like last year, even like Gary Payton was hurt. And like last game, he goes like 4 for 5 from 3, puts up 15 points. And it's like, if he's giving you that and really good defense, that might be the difference in those moments. I feel really good. This is like the first time in a long time where like, the Steph on off numbers, like the Steph is always some of the best on off numbers in the league because he's so good. But it's also because our bench is always so bad. And like against Houston, our bench was plus like 18. It's also against Houston. So there's that. But it's not, last year, those were games the Warriors would lose, and then they had to crawl back to even get to 500 for the rest of the season,
Right.
So basically my way too early overreaction, at least, is I think the Warriors will be good in the regular season, like at least.
Bro, yeah. I think they're going to be good. We'll get to this. I think I have them as the 5th best team in the West, which is very good in my mind. I'm serious.
Disrespectful. That's some insane disrespect.
No. I'm serious. No. I think they're going to be good. Like that's better than what I think people are thinking. But I'm with you. They're a fun team. They look exciting. And even if they're 5th, I think they're going to be the championship contending sort of team. But we'll see.
All right. We'll get to that. I'll just come out with my takeaways. Is that this league is so talented, top to bottom. We're seeing, and we'll talk about a bunch of other performances. I just want to get the Warriors stuff out of the way. A lot of fanboying. But this league, top to bottom, is incredibly talented. We're seeing guys that Cam Thomas is my random example, but like 2 games, he's playing another while we're recording this, but in those 2 games, 33 points a game. I know they didn't win either of those games, but there's just guys like these floating around the league. And we've seen it before from Cam Thomas, right? Like it's not exactly surprising that he can do this over a short period of time. But it's guys like that, even guys like Jalen Duren, etc. It just makes me ready for expansion. And we saw some more rumors about it that it's going to happen right after the TV deal, which I think, to be expected. But like this season is really showing me that.
Bro, like, okay. Let's go through some teams real quick and see like who can the Warriors or the Celtics take a night off against. Okay. Can they take a night off against the Pistons?
Not right now. The Pistons are 2-1.
Can they take a night off against the Spurs?
I think so. We'll get to this. I think so.
You think so?
Unfortunately, yeah.
They can take a night off?
I think they can take the night off.
Bro, I mean, just like, yeah, I'm with you, though. From top to bottom, the Pelicans, they can't take a night off. The Jazz, they can't take a night off. The Hawks, they can't take a night off. The Nets, they can't take a night off.
Hell, the Rockets. The Rockets, like they got VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, etc. But then they also have like 10 players who know how to play basketball. Like their 10th man is like Jason Tate, who like comes off the bench. Last night he was like incredibly impactful. They just the Magic have 9 NBA players like out of nowhere. Maybe not out of nowhere. But
they have a lot of players. The league is so deep.
It's super fun to watch. Honestly, I'm trying to think of some players who might be like opportunity locked. And again, I go back to Houston, like some of their young guys, it's like I wish you were just on your own team so you can go screw up. But like also that's what the Rockets had before and they were terrible. So yeah.
How long do you think before people get bored of the parody and they want a new super team?
But we have our super team, quote unquote, right? The Suns should have been a super team. Those are like 3 top 25 guys,
Yeah. I was never moved. They were no Miami or Golden State.
Yeah, that's the thing. Miami and Golden State, it's like 3 top 10 to even Golden State's like 4 top 17 to 18 players. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Just different
times, but yeah, I just don't think like with the way the CBA is structured, unless players took like a big sacrifice, it'd be extremely difficult to get 3 top 3 guys. And then also I think now the NBA is so much about like opportunity also. Like you would almost lose the consideration as a top guy upon teaming up with someone else, I feel like a lot of times.
Right. Dude, yeah. But it's nuts. It's a crazy league.
Yeah.
Expansion?
Okay. It's probably gonna be Seattle and Vegas. Whatever. Are there any other cities you'd like to see?
Yes. There's one city I would very much like to see. The Mexico City Vaqueros. That's what we gotta have, bro. Mexico City, I think I heard a podcast with Wendy talking about this. They have a city that's like more than 18 million people. So it's the biggest city in North America. It's the biggest market in North America. And it's sort of like this gateway to Latin America introducing basketball or like bringing basketball more mainstream down into it. I think that'd be the coolest thing. Lines up with it would be a far, far, far flight. Like that's the one thing.
It is. It's a lot further south than people like realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like way further south. But it's very high altitude. But it would be very cool to see. I think they'd make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they would be some of the most conditioned athletes.
I mean, it'd be like Denver vibes, right? So,
right.
But I just think the politics for the league and internationally in terms of player security and things like that potentially might be difficult. But like,
yeah,
they do have a G League team, if I'm not mistaken, in Mexico City.
They're doing just fine.
What?
They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
The neighborhood that it's in is like one of the like safest neighborhoods, like most modern. Anyways, it was a whole thing. So that's what I'm big on. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be Vegas, Seattle. It would be cool if it were like Vancouver as a potential like Canadian city, bring it back into the fray.
That'd be fun. Maybe Yeah, Vancouver could be good. I'm trying to think. There's so many Canadian cities, honestly, that are pretty big that I feel like could pass off. In the US, I don't really know. Like the only place that I feel like is missing, quote unquote, a team would be like Nashville, but Memphis is right there. And also the Grizzlies fit Memphis like better than I feel like another basketball team would fit Nashville almost.
Mhm. Yeah. Bring back Omaha, Kansas City.
That'd be that'd be tough.
Dude.
That'd be like going back in time.
Bro, that'd be brutal.
You had a team in Sacramento.
Yeah, wow. I love it. We love Sacramento.
You should get another team in the Bay Area, actually. We'll do San Jose. They got a million people in that city. Screw
Yeah,
it.
they do.
Uh,
Or San Diego.
yes. We've seen how sports teams have gone there.
Mhm.
Anyways, after, after all that, we'll get
Yes.
some other overreactions. Anthony, you got some?
Dude, I was gonna say I'm big on the Pacers and I'm big on the Magic this season. I think they're both gonna be pretty good. I think they're both gonna make the playoffs. And so far, I think the Pacers are looking good. They beat the Cavs pretty convincingly. They beat them by 12 in the first game, and then they thumped the Wizards, but they're the Wizards. So taking care of teams that they should. And then the Magic thumped the Rockets, who we were just saying is a team you can't really take a night off of. And they beat the Blazers. So two teams that maybe they should beat, but they take care of business. So this is without Paolo really starting to go off either. Because for my fantasy sake, I know that he needs to start going off, dude. Like, but
I,
I like these teams. What do you think of them so far?
I mean, I think the Magic are kind of nasty. Like, I mean, I still not set to be like they'll be a top six team in the East. Like,
Sure.
I actually, yeah, I just don't believe that. I think the Pacers could, which is interesting. They would have to perform really well, but I think the Magic, I'd still need to see more. But like, I think they'll be a top. If I could redo my predictions that we might get to later, I would probably put them in the top 8 of actual seeding, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
How they go from there?
Yeah. Do they make the play-in? Do they win their playing games, etc.?
Right. Do they pull like the 2021 Cavs and they're like, oh, you made the plane, and then you
Yeah.
fall out of it? But
So we'll see. That's actually a really good comparison. Kind of like that.
I got you. And wait, you like the Pacers?
I like the Pacers. I mean, Tyrese is nice.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of pieces. Nembhard is really good. Neesmith got the extension, and I think he's like really good, low key.
Mhm.
All my Obi Toppin takes are probably I'm selling Obi Toppin stock probably at this point. But they look really good. Like honestly,
Bro, yes. And most improved player, potentially, Halliburton. I know that's the politics of how this isn't supposed to go, but if we're thinking about it, what are they looking for? The team that missed the playoffs last year and then jumps the standings into like not even in the play in. They just completely missed the playoffs. If they can improve by like 10 games or something, he continues to statistical leap. He could have a John Moran kind of thing. I'm saying, but 20, 25, and 12 right now. Good
I
Lord.
mean he's disgusting, and I actually like I don't see him slowing down. Like that's the thing. I don't see him getting worse.
Yeah.
It'll probably be other pieces. Like I don't know. That's about like I think Halliburton is disgusting. I think
Halliburton's made, yeah. Dude, yeah. And then even their after they got Miles, Bruce Brown, Buddy, you got Jarris Walker who's coming in. Benedict gets another year. TJ McConnell's always consistent. Aaron Naismith's figuring out a shot.
they have
Like,
Neesmith and Nemhard. Those are the two guys that have honestly super impressed me a ton. Like Neesmith's shown me a lot as a swing man, and like I believed in him. And I think when we talked about the Denny and Neesmith extensions, I think I said I might have liked the Neesmith extension more. But Neesmith is playing even better than I thought he was going to be playing. Like I don't want to say Buddy Hield is expendable because he's not. Like he's a really good player, but
right.
if you get an offer for 2 firsts for Buddy, you might have to take it. If someone's giving you 2 unprotected firsts for Buddy Hield and that's opening up swingman space,
Right.
like it's going to be really difficult to say
Yeah,
no. So I don't know,
totally fair.
which I think is fascinating. It's a fascinating concept with them because they could almost buy or sell, but they have like too many young players to really be buyers. I feel like at this.
Right.
Um,
Man. Good for small markets, man.
yeah, shout out. So many good small markets. I mean, what in the East you got three of the top three teams like Detroit, Orlando, Indiana. Like,
Or small markets. Milwaukee's a small market.
yeah.
Um,
Um, Obviously,
okay.
this is all 3 games in, by the way. Like, we're not trying to overreact too much. But we'll do so. Anyways, we'll cover we'll cover who's hot. We'll cover who's not currently this season. Anthony, anyone you want to highlight to start off with?
Bro, it was great seeing Kristaps Porzingis in the Celtics uniform against the Knicks that first night. He just fit in so well. The team kind of came out choppy. Um, we have a way of kind of blowing leads at the end of games. That's what we're known for as Celtics in the last few years. I think it was a great way of kind of putting it all together. So happy about that. He's averaging 23, 9, and 4 stocks, blocks, and steals per game. Just fits in so well with the Celtics offense, bro. So it's a nice thing to say. It's just like amazing. It feels like he's happy with the Celtics, and I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, he's so good. And also just that 6-man lineup is just having those 6 guys is so dangerous. And that'll just be easy to ride through the regular season at minimum. And like he's not gonna have to play 36 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The game's tough, you know.
Right.
Al
Like,
Horford come in. Like, I don't know. I could almost like I feel like the also lessened pressure to perform both offensively and defensively might also help him not get injured if that like in terms of a mental thing.
mm-hmm.
Um kind of playing with more freedom, less
Right. Yeah.
stress, like
Flow.
yeah. So
I think that's fair.
that's fully hypothetical too, but like
Yo, hey, but there's a guy who you were just talking about before we hopped on the Kings, which is how they played all last year, so free and open, and they had the fewest injuries. So I think your take might have some good validity to it.
yeah, I mean I think that's always like a big thing. And speaking of the Kings,
Yes, sir.
we'll get to De'Aaron Fox, who's also performing incredibly. Unless
Bro,
do you want to wrap up Porzingis? Did you
bro, Porzingis is playing well. De'Aaron Fox is playing amazing.
get yeah. So last night against the Lakers, if you guys didn't get a chance to see that game, I actually feel terrible for you. That was a super fun game. Like it
Yo, fun.
was electric. De'Aaron Fox gets hurt, stumbles back into the game, forces his way onto the court, is what they said after the game. Plays the end of regulation, helps ice the game, 31 points or 39 points, sorry if I remember correctly, last night against the Lakers. Doesn't play in the overtime period, but the Kings get the win. De'Aaron Fox this season, 31 points per game. There was a surprise team last year, third in the West, and he's doing his part. I think other guys on that team have struggled, like Kevin Huerter, and like Murray to a lesser extent. Murray's had really good stat lines at times, but watching him in the flow of the offense, it feels like he's a little hesitant at times.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also figuring out the rotations, adding Vezenkov, etc. But De'Aaron Fox is doing his part.
So, I'm not sure if you were watching at this point in the game, but there was a moment where Keegan Murray had an open three and then traveled.
Yeah,
Mike brings over what's the guy's name?
uh,
The
Vezenkov.
Vezenkov ready to. Did you see this? He brings him.
Yeah,
He's ready to go, and then Keegan Murray immediately gets a board and then hits a three. And they're like, all right, you can go back to the bench.
back to the bench.
It was awesome. So, and he kind of definitely especially when Sabonis fouled out, he kept his composure. He had a couple of like nice assists, offensive rebounds. But dude, yeah, the star of the show, De'Aaron Fox, on top of what you mentioned, averaging 3 of 8 from 3 per game, 37%, not known as a 3-point shooter, 81 from the free throw line, and then 4 boards, 6 assists, a steal. Like it's really cool. Like he was always kind of that guy in that 2017-18 draft. That's the draft with Lonzo, right?
Yeah. So 16, 17. But
Is
yeah,
he
it was. It
17 or
was.
17, 18?
I think that it was
Wait, well, he was with Tatum.
the draft before the 17-18 season.
Wait, let me just make sure. Um, his first bro was 2017. Oh, you wait, yeah, you went through that. Because what year was he in? Um, yeah, 2017, 2018 draft.
Oh, so yeah, the draft before that season.
We're gonna have to talk about, dude, one day, like a segment where we talk about like greatest drafts. This one might be one of the greatest drafts, like Tatum. Anyways, but he's always been a great point guard, but now he's really coming into his own. And could he be like top five? Could he be considered one of the best point guards in the game by the end of the year?
I
So,
think he's disgusting. I think he's fantastic. Like he's gonna be in top 10 consideration. Would you rather him or Dame Lillard right now?
hey, recency bias is not on our side for Dame right now. But going forward,
For the rest of the season?
yeah,
Like in a vacuum. Like the thing is that Dame fits better with Giannis than
right.
so like that's but I think you can definitely make that argument.
Give me Fox, and I'm not sad.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
disappointed.
fair.
Which is
Another guy who's playing almost as good as De'Aaron Fox is Tyrese Maxey, who is better than James Harden. Tyrese Maxey, 30 points per game in 3 games, 50% from the field, 45% from three. He is cooking. Like he looks fantastic. I'm thoroughly impressed. I know that's a little bold to say he's better than James Harden, but I'd honestly believe it. This guy is insane.
dude. Yeah, yeah, he's fantastic. James Harden, who, bro, we're on to it. He's taking a step. He's taking right now a step that everybody was kind of like, all right, this is your turn. And honestly, it's really, really helpful for the identity of the Sixers team, which I think is easy for everybody to have counted them out. I think we kind of counted them out. Still might, but hey, that's a star. There are a lot of questions with James Harden. What's going to happen? And if you get Maxey in and James Harden, whatever, if he comes back and he plays well, the Sixers said, you know what, dude? Fine. You go do what you do. We're not going to be destroyed because you can't play with us, which is what he had over these other teams. So he's kind of in the position where he can't go running to them anymore and say, like, hey, this is what I want. This is no. You want to come play with us? Like, that's fine, but we're fine without you. We can hold out. So
No, I fully agree. And they look good top to bottom without him. Maxi replaced him. Kelly Oubre averaging 19 a game.
so good.
Totally got disrespected in free agency as well. But I think that offensively they're going to be really good. They're going to be really good with or without James Harden. So why would you want to keep James Harden? Honestly,
Right.
I'm calling up the Clippers. And I'm going, yo, Norm Powell.
Terrence Mann, maybe.
But I think the holdup is that the Clippers have made like Terrence Mann pretty much
Yeah.
untouchable.
So weird. You're right. Yeah.
Let's just let's move on from that. I think Norm Powell is probably better than Terrence Mann. You know, give me Norm Powell, give me Zubats because I need a backup big,
Mm-hmm.
and then throw in Batum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Throw in Batum. Boom. That's 3 guys right there. They slot in at the end of your bench instead of Korkmaz, Jaden Springer, Mo Bamba. And that's 3 guys who can really play.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting rid of James Harden. You probably get a first round pick in that too. And it's like, I think that fits better.
Spittin Hoops. You subscribers are lucky to have just heard a fantastic trade point right there. That works so well. Like, that fits like a glove. And for the Clippers, I mean, what else do you have to lose? This is your window. You got to win now. So go get some talent. So it's a win for the Sixers.
And I don't want to overreact too much because, like, I know James Harden is incredible, and hypothetically, you should be able to trade James Harden for more of an asset than that. But it's not Ben Simmons, where like Ben Simmons had 4 years left on his contract. James Harden is expiring at the end of the year. If you guys don't figure this out, he's leaving. He's walking. Like, and you're not going to get anything. If someone's offering you a first and potentially other assets,
yeah,
I don't know.
go
And
for it.
This team has 8 NBA players, right? Like Maxey, Tobias Harris, Embiid, Oubre, Melton, PJ Tucker,
Paul Reed,
and then however you feel about Pat Bev, Danny Green, Daniel.
Dude, yeah.
There's got to be one other guy you consider to be
Pat Bev, yeah, easily, bro.
Yeah, and let's add Norm Powell, a true backup center who might not care about how many minutes they get.
Right.
And then, like, I don't know. I really think,
bro, that's a scary team.
Yeah, I really think Nick Nurse has really changed my opinion on what the potential ceiling of this team could be if Joel Embiid plays at top performance in the playoffs,
Right.
Which I think
they force their way into like the top 3 conversation, like a big 3, not just a top 2 kind of thing.
Yeah, but if the rest of the team's good, Joel's not going to have an excuse. Like 23 a game over the last 2 playoffs he's been in. So
he's got him. He's going. I mean, yeah,
that's the thing. And
yep.
He's really good, and he still has looked amazing.
Yep.
Over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, amazing. Yep. So it's the playoff. Like that's all it is. So we'll see. I don't want to overreact to that team as a whole too much because of that. Anyone else you want to touch on?
Bro, yeah, LeBron last night. I would love to touch on this man. Absolutely. I mean, he looked old and he couldn't really close the game out, but it's just cool to see 27, 15, and 8 coming from a guy in his 21st season who's 38 years old. It's almost like, okay, I don't know why I'm impressed by that. You lost to a Kings team and you didn't look great, but like those stats don't come from like the impact that he has on the game still at this age is incredible. So, folks, just be lucky to watch him play.
Totally agree. He looks amazing. Any of the problems with the Lakers that we'll get to later do not have to do with LeBron James. Another guy I wanted to talk about is Jalen Duren. Everyone is talking about him in the niche fantasy basketball communities and fantasy sports circles in general because he's making you a lot of money if you're betting on him in daily. He's been incredible. I have a lot of stock in him in fantasy basketball. He was a big target of mine going into the season in fantasy because I thought all the other big men on the Pistons are pretty bad or could get traded, So Bogdanovich, Wiseman, Bagley, and then Isaiah Stewart got extended, but I think that's a complimentary piece potentially. Jalen Duren, great rebounder, incredibly athletic, and also a sneaky good passer. 4 assists a game this year. That's always been something I've actually been pretty impressed by. And he keeps the ball moving on an offense that has a lot of guys who kind of want the ball. I'm thoroughly impressed by him, and I actually think he's really good. I don't think he's going to slow down as much as people think. He's not going to average 18, 15, and 4 like he is right now, but I think he's really good.
And almost 3 blocks a game.
Yeah.
Bro. Bro, this guy is crazy good.
Yeah. And they're 2-1.
Yeah. Whoa. Good Lord. I mean, yeah, he's not gonna continue to shoot 80% from the field. But
6 offensive rebounds a game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he's not about to he's not about to have to be ready to learn Chinese, buddy. Like he's chilling.
If anything, he's 20 years old. I think this is now the Pistons starting center for a while. We'll see how it progresses, but I really think he's amazing. And last year, I mean, what, 9 and 9, 9 points, 9 rebounds a game on just 25 minutes a game?
Bro. Yeah, he could be a most improved candidate, honestly.
Yeah.
Easily. Could come into the fray.
And they're 2-1. I still think they're going to be really bad, but they are way more interesting to me now than they were before the season. Also, Ausar Thompson, their first round pick this year. he's looked really interesting. His shooting and his scoring pretty slow, but 11 rebounds a game is absolutely fantastic, honestly. And it's also really incredible because his brother, his twin, is not, a rebounder, defensive player necessarily just yet. And Alstar Thompson almost looks like everything his brother isn't, he is, and then vice versa as well. Amen Thompson still looks incredibly athletic and whatnot. Like, can't take anything away from that there. But Asar Thompson is literally averaging 11 rebounds a game. Like, this is ridiculous. This is a rookie, and he's 6'7".
Yeah, and in his he's not going to keep shooting 26% from the field. Like, he's going to get it going, and it's bro. The Pistons are just a sneaky, deep, pretty big team, bro, and like no need for Wiseman.
He'll be gone by the deadline.
Yeah. Dude, they if you keep Stewart, Asar, Jalen Duren, bro, and then Cade, and then you really start having fun. You can figure some stuff out.
Still have Bogdanovich, Jaden Ivey. Like, right. These are NBA players who are like pretty good. And I actually really like Isaiah Stewart. Beef Stew. That's what they call him. Legend. And then the last small point, I just want to give a little shout out to Peyton Watson. I roasted the Denver Nuggets a lot in the season preview that we just posted, where I said, where's their bench? And here he is. Peyton Watson, 10 points a game, 45% from three, and a spectacular defender. Slots in easily at the eighth guy off the bench, and a really good guy, a really good player at that. He was a rookie last year. Just wanted to give a shout out to him.
And you've raved about him before. So yeah, this is the season he's kind of taking that step.
And I think Loki, I think on one of the first podcasts we ever did, I did mention him, but I didn't think he would
get hot on him, yeah.
And I didn't think he would get minutes last year, and he didn't. But
yeah,
now he's here, and I hate that my old prediction is going to come through and thwart my new prediction, which was Lakers winning the chip, which does not look good. With that
might be its own problem. That might not be because of Peyton Watson.
I think it will be single-handedly,
bro. That could be.
It'll be the only reason.
Honestly, this is the first year in a while where it's like a role player is going to be the difference.
It genuinely might. I know I'm like trolling with Peyton Watson.
Yeah,
the difference between the Lakers winning or not, like whatever. But Peyton Watson. I mean, if the Nuggets have 7 guys, they might lose to a team that has 10. Just even though those top 2 guys are so good. I don't know,
bro. Yeah. No, it's
not. With that, Tony. Want to move on?
Yeah. Let's do a little score update. Just want to run by some scores, get some off the cuff kind of thoughts. Celtics beat the Wizards by 20, 126-107. Tatum and Jalen both have 35 plus.
Zero thoughts.
Yeah. The Wizards are terrible. All right. Nets, Hornets. Nets win, get their first win of the season. Woo woo. Thunder up on the Pistons by 12 at halftime. Bucks up by 10 over the Heat. And a lot of these games are in the fourth quarter wrapping up. Looks like Bulls are about to pull it out, and the Warriors are playing the Pelicans right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that when we get off. But
yes, sir,
we look good.
And there's one score to. Oh, have you been following the score?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were.
Steph Curry with a cool 25 right now. Don't worry.
Dude, he's playing amazing.
As always.
With that.
A little interesting. The Raptors, their vibes are good, but they're not like a good team, low key.
Yeah.
It's like hilarious. It's like Nick Nurse left and everyone's happy, but then they're also, because of that, gonna lose games because Nick Nurse was like a good coach. I don't know. Interesting situation. And they're losing to the Trailblazers right now. They might win, but we'll see. You want to get into who's hot and who's not?
Well, yeah. On the note of who's not, shout out to the Raptors. My first who's not is the Los Angeles Lakers. their first game, they lose in the same way that they lost every single other game that they played against the Nuggets. Stayed kind of close, didn't end up winning. They beat the Suns, who didn't have Booker or Beal for that game. Barely beat them, and then they lose no T to the Kings, where Sabonis had fouled out, and De'Aaron Fox sprained his ankle quite literally in half. No, but I think he'll be all right. The injury updates are saying like they're checking it out. Hopefully he's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think that just as good as the Kings have been playing, the Lakers, they look old. I think Austin Reeves has to kind of get into it, and they got to be able to close these games, man. That's what's not happening.
Yeah, and Gabe Vincent's not looked good, but he started to already play in some crunch time minutes instead of D'Lo. It's already beginning. LeBron's already been frustrated with D'Lo a few times. It's felt visually. I think Austin Reeves just might need the ball more, low key. Like, honestly, like Gabe Vincent, D'Lo, they haven't looked great. Let's just get the rock to Reeves. And honestly, he was running a ton of pick and roll in the playoffs, low key. Like, and he was very efficient. He's a guy who can handle the ball, and I think people don't necessarily realize that. I'm not too worried about the Lakers. Didn't really think they were going to be a regular season team, anyways. I didn't think they would be a top 3 seed in the West or something.
Right.
And I'm not too deterred in that opinion. I just definitely feel like D'Lo is on his way out.
Yeah.
Not to overreact, but I feel
gotta hit one.
Feel like I just did, yeah.
I mean, D'Lo's such an enigma, man.
Mm-hmm.
He'll always be in the league, but he's got something.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's like a winning contributing player at this point. Like, and he says all the right things, and he said a lot of really good quotes before the season about focusing on not just scoring, defense, etc. And I don't want to harp on him too much, right? Like, this is not solely D'Lo's fault that they've lost these games, but it just feels like he would be a quick solution in terms of trading him away. But it's 3 games, but it really doesn't feel like he'll be on the team by the deadline.
Man, I love the NBA.
3 games in, we're already saying stuff like that. Another team doing really badly. Memphis Grizzlies, 0-3.
Yeah.
I saw this team play on Saturday. Wizards home opener against the Grizzlies. They look terrible, man. They also have a ton of injuries, right? Like, this is not a team that they shouldn't look good if they're missing John Moran, Steven Adams, Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama. If you got 5 of your top 10 players out, like, how are you supposed to be good? And honestly, there's moments where this team's kind of looks like okay in terms of ball movement and stuff, which is shocking considering they're starting like Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, and Zaire Williams. But yeah, they're bad. It's sad. It's honestly sad because it's so many injuries and unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. As long as you have Jaw, as long as you have Triple J, they'll be fine going forward. But yeah, man, they're going through it right now. They don't look good. And everybody's talking about that. Oh, Grizzlies were 19-2 without Jaw in the regular season 2 years ago. This, that, and the other. Okay, yeah, but not Jaw, Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, like all these like rotation player level guys. So they're just gutted right now, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly kind of sad to watch. Like, and if this continues, like, which it might, Jaw's out for 25 games, and like Aldama might still be out for the next few days. Kennard, we don't know. Clark and Adams are just long-term injuries.
Right.
They, depending on how many games they lose to start off the season, this could end up being like a sneaky rebuilding season out of nowhere, out of them, just for 1 year.
Like, yeah, like literally, I was just thinking, so if the Warriors were up here and then had their like kind of calamitous season where they just knew that they were going to be terrible a few years ago, right? That was fine. You weren't stressed. You were like, it is what it is. It sucks. We're moving on. The Grizzlies have a much, much lower ceiling right now, but they're kind of in a bit of a dip, and they're like, all right, well, this is random, but let's get a pick or something. And I don't know, do they have a protected pick?
Yeah, they have their own pick, I believe.
Okay. So yeah, if we're terrible and it is what it is. But not to tank, but keep trying. But not in the worst spot in the world.
Yeah, it's just like it's like surprising in the unfortunate way. I enjoy watching that team. They could have been very competitive over the last few years, and this is just kind of what happens when you don't take advantage of the opportunities. But like,
right,
they were also a super young team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving on, another team that I have found to be not hot is the Spurs, and this is on a personal level. I do not find them fun to watch. Like for a Spurs team, I feel like they have very little ball movement. I feel like they don't even run plays half the time. And it's like they don't think Wembanyama is the best player on their team. And he clearly is. Like even off just quick glimpses, I know it's not great all the time, but he's still clearly the best player on their team. And I know Devin Vassell is good, but I really already think Wembanyama is better.
Yeah, he'll just have to take advantage of it. Kind of moving a little bit slow out there. Seems like at times he can get kind of like lost in the moment.
Yeah,
which is fine. He's young. He's a rookie. We don't want to have to compare it to LeBron, but LeBron took it pretty quickly. And he's like, all right, this is what's up. This is what I'm going to do. So I think if Wemby can get there, the Spurs have a great. We're saying that they're not because they haven't done anything. It's because the way that they're playing isn't sort of cohesive to what we would imagine their style of play most successfully being, where Wemby is the obvious focal point. You have Trey Jones, kind of like the experimenting with Sochan. So I don't think Pop is like overly worried about it right now.
Yeah.
And Sochan with like the sort of point guard, point power forward combo, then Zach Collins, right? Two wings, and then you go with Wemby. It's interesting. But it is, like you said, like it's a bizarre kind of fit at the moment. And they got blown out by the Clippers yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
and they're clearly not going to be competitive, right? Like it's really apparent really quickly, at least to me, in my opinion. But I'm also not really worried about Wemby. He kind of fits the game. It's still insane watching him play. There hasn't been a moment also where I'm like, oh, he might get hurt. That's like another thing, which is very interesting to watch. He doesn't really feel like that big of an injury risk, which is kind of surprising to me at this point. Yeah.
Plays a bit like more fluidly, that it's like harder to see him getting hurt as much. That makes sense.
And exactly. And like on defense, he almost is so stationary as a center because he's so tall. Like it doesn't feel like he's leaping, doing crazy stuff. And then offensively, he's kind of playing like a wing. He's kind of playing like a small forward anyways. So it's not like he's like down low all the time. So
Right. And like he could benefit from doing that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. But also like I don't even know how much I want to see him down low that much, just because they play with Zach Collins too. So that's kind of the weird thing. Like, I would like to see him play center, but then on defense, he would also have to play like under the basket in perpetuity, which is kind of the thing. Like, when you have a guy that tall, you also want him to be able to run at a 3-point shooter just because he's that tall and he's going to contest even if he's 10 feet away, right? So that's, I don't know.
He's smart. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, and the Spurs are smart. They'll figure it out. I just think the team will be bad, but it'll look better for sure.
Yeah, but right now with you, it's like oof.
Yeah, and like there's some of those possessions are ugly, man. Like they are ugly. Another team that's had an ugly beginning of the season, Chicago Bulls.
Shout out.
Yeah, one of our recent podcasts. Shout out Rudy. Just did our preview on that. The Bulls, terrible team meeting right after the first game against OKC, which I don't know why you're having a team meeting after losing by 20 to OKC. It's opening night, like chill out. But apparently there were tensions at halftime, team meeting after. And then recently, Zach LaVine responded, scored 51 points for the loss, the most Zach LaVine thing that could happen.
Bro, it's bad.
This is bad. This is worst case scenario.
It's tough. It is tough out here in Chicago right now, man. I mean, lose by 20 to the Thunder, bro. Come on. Like what are we doing? Then you come back, you get this spirited win where you're down 17 with 5 minutes to go, which is an incredible comeback, by the way. Like, but still, like you had to do all that. So are we calling it on Chicago? Are we calling the season?
I don't want to overreact, but also I didn't think they were going to be good anyways. We're like they'll be 500.
Right. Do trades start happening? Not now, but
I will say if it gets to game 15 and it still looks like this, like then like for sure. But
right.
honestly, probably for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Get ahead of it. Don't do what the Wizards did.
That's honestly they Zach LaVine's got so much value. If you were going to trade him, like probably might want to strike now, but also
Yeah.
it's like what teams at the beginning of the season are like also going to be overreactionary on their end to go trade for one of these guys, you know?
Right. Not yet. So they'll need more time.
Yeah. With that, we can move into the hot take section really quick. And I guess we can combine this with like just asking each other any questions you have on the top of mind.
Mm.
What do you got?
All right. All right. All right. I got a question for you. What so last year the Blazers got out to a 10-4 start. I think the Jazz got off to like a 12-6 start. Like there were a couple teams that or 10-3 start or whatever. Like a few teams that kind of got off too quick start and then fizzled out. Is there a team that you can see having this kind of pattern happen again this year? And what's that team?
Honestly, it's Orlando. Just because they're so young, like between being young and being semi-injury prone, even their top players are super young, right? Like Paolo's second year, Franz's
Right.
third. Like I could really see them being a team that just comes down to earth. I know Utah was like super exciting last year, but they came down to earth also with guys like Lauri Markkanen, like probably better players at this point in time potentially than the Magic. So that's kind of my worry there. They do look good. They do look very good. So I don't want to take too much credit away from them. But I don't see the Magic being anything more than a playing team at all.
Right. But like at the same time, like the Jazz and the Blazers last year, I was kind of like, okay, when are the wheels going to fall off? I don't know if I see that as much with this Magic team.
That's fair. Maybe the Pistons a better example, but they're too
Okay.
long, and I don't think anyone's putting their predict like it's 3 games in. I don't think like the
Yeah.
Pistons anyone's like they're super nice, you know.
Right. Right. All right. Here, I got another question. I was thinking about left-handed players, and I was going to ask you who are the best lefty. Who do you think? Which lefty do you think is going to have the best season? I started finding some names: Randall, Harden, Miles Turner. Then I got to Jalen Brunson. I was like, oh, he's obviously better. Then I got to Zion and De'Aaron Fox. I was like, wait, Max, who do you like more, Zion or De'Aaron Fox?
This is a unbelievable question. And are we taking like what are we
Bro,
saying?
I'll let you. You just kind of pro and con it.
Well, okay, full health. I'm taking Zion just because offensively, I think he is a one of a kind animal. He is, and this is over the course of a full season. I think you could figure out a team around him with a higher ceiling than De'Aaron Fox does. I also think Zion has an incredibly high ceiling.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like if you put him on the Bucks in the Bucks situation, like with Giannis, where Zion gets to run the four and has like tall guys around him doing other stuff, and he just has to worry about that. That would have been a perfect situation. But like in reality, I'd probably take De'Aaron Fox because Zion gets hurt and De'Aaron averaged 28 a game in the playoffs last year, and like so. I think like that's the unfortunate reality of the Zion situation, but I do love what I'm seeing from him, even if he's looked kind of slow. Like Zion's looked kind of slow, but that's all they need. The Pelicans just need like a little bit of Zion to be a lot better. Sorry,
Hmm.
answer.
No, no, I fully see that.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. But I think the Pelicans here, the hot take, I think the Pelicans are super dangerous. If Zion's healthy, they should
Right.
be a top 3 seed in the West.
Right.
And even I think they could be playoff dangerous if Zion's healthy. If Zion's healthy, permanent caveat.
Right. And it's and how hot of a take even is that? I feel like we've seen they've been good.
They're
push,
first in the West.
push,
First in the West last year.
right? You push Phoenix to 6 games in the first round a couple of years ago when they make it, and just injuries, and then you do that without Zion. So
Yeah, but totally agree. We are, yeah. Spittin Hoops agrees once again. But
yeah.
Pelican, but yeah, the Pelicans were like first in the West last year until Zion got hurt. Like, so I don't know, they look good. Other things, I guess, a question I have for you: are there any young guys you're particularly interested in? Any guys who jumped off the map for you?
Oh man, I mean, we talked about Jalen Duren already. We talked about De'Aaron Fox. Just so many young guys are playing well. We talked about Asar Thompson. I think maybe one guy we could zag on, Paolo. He's gotten off to a slow start, not really scoring the ball as where people would expect him to. Just numbers aren't quite there yet, averaging like 13, 7, and 4 or something. But I don't know any young guys that pop off in your head immediately.
Off the top of my head, Keontae George from the Jazz, rookie this year, has looked really good in terms of feel. The scoring is not there at all, but like, I believe in his last game, he played like 30 minutes. He had like 12 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds as like a point guard. And his feel's really good for a rookie. Like, I'm incredibly impressed by him. Another guy, we touched on this earlier on the Kings, Sasha Vezenkov, shooting percentage is off the charts. And like, I honestly, Mike Brown like looks to him on the bench super often, even though his minutes aren't that high. Vezenkov's someone where I think like he could start for a playoff team at some point here pretty soon. Like,
You look confident, bro.
what?
You look confident.
Why? In Vezenkov?
He looked very
He
confident.
looks confident. Yeah,
He
yeah.
looked very confident, like against the Lakers.
And he looks good. He'll shoot the rock. If you can shoot 40% from three while playing 30 minutes a game, you're a starter in the NBA, you know? So I don't know. And he also like scores at a really high rate. Like, his points per minute is also really high, which is fascinating.
Right. Yeah. That's a good young player in NBA years, 28 years old, rookie, but like
Early guy, legend.
first year. Yeah. Amazing. So welcome to the squad. I guess one young guy I'm thinking of is Christian Brown. I'm excited to see if he can kind of take that step, fill the role of Bruce Brown being left a little bit. So far he's had a couple of relatively strong games, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep going. I like the Nuggets culture a lot too, so puts guys in a place to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're nasty.
Yeah.
I think he's good. I don't know what the ceiling is, but if his ceiling is the 7th best guy on a championship team, the Nuggets are hype, you know?
Sure.
Perfect.
Right.
And it's definitely higher than that. Another young guy, I guess that I do like, and I'm excited now, and this is unfortunate, is like the Blazers. I think Shaden Sharp's looked pretty good. The percentages haven't always been great, and like, they are not a good team, but I think we talked about this between us, like that young guard group of like Scoot, Anthony who's out 6 weeks. This is the thing,
Right.
opening up opportunity for Sharp, but like that 3-man combo is really exciting. Scoots look terrible. It's fine. I'm really not worried, but yeah.
Yeah. They look good. We were commenting on it. They were hanging with the Sixers for a little bit. Like, and the Sixers, as much as we kind of go against the Sixers, we're arguing about how good they should be because they're that good. So they're hanging with them, but young team. Yeah. All right. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So who is a favorite like random player that you can like shout out? Just like, I mean, this kind of goes along with what we were just talking about. Like, but I think of a guy like from last season, Mason Plumlee, where he could shoot it with like either left hand from like or either hand from the free throw line. Like, who's a guy for you that's just like somebody you appreciate, or like Jose Alvarado coming to steal the ball?
That's a good question. Now you got me thinking. I'm trying to. What teams have I watched a lot of that I feel like I can say something? John Conchar on the Grizzlies. I saw him in.
Okay.
And I watched this. I watched the Grizzlies' first game too. This is just like, I don't have a fun fact about him at all. Rather than just he's like 6'6". When you watch him play, he really doesn't stand out too much. but I feel like good stuff always happens when he's on the court. Like I feel like they always go on runs.
Mm,
And his stats always end up being pretty good, even though it feels like he's really not doing much. Like,
yeah,
which is fascinating. I don't actually know if they're going on runs while he's on the court, just off feel. Like I don't know if I don't have the stat, but
I like that.
yeah, has like a contract. He's been there for a while, and
Mhm.
up until very recently, I was always wondering, like, I don't really know what this guy does. He kind of does a little bit of everything. Like,
Yeah,
he's really not that good, but he's pretty good. Like, like I don't know. Like I was watching him, I was like, holy shit, man! Like, get this guy on my basketball team, low key.
nice. Yeah, I love that.
Like super random. Because I've been watching a lot of Grizzlies over the last few years, and I've
Yeah,
up until this season, it didn't wrap around like into my head like what he was. To be quite honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're Kuchar fans.
What about you? Any other ones?
Um, oh, man, who else? There's so many guys. There's literally. Oh man, there was this guy playing for Portland. Oh, I mean, we talked about Sasha Vezenkov, but I just love how he played. Who was the guy from Portland? For the French dude,
Marty
Kamara.
Kamara,
What's his name? Tommy.
Tumani.
Tumani, dude, Tumani Kamara, like he was doing things out there on the court. It was fun to watch.
Suns
Um,
draft pick?
yeah. And they were saying how the Blazers commentators were talking about how the Suns were disappointed to have lost him in this trade. So makes you wonder why they would give him up in a trade for Yusuf Nurkic, but that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic, who continues to look good for one day and then bad for the other. It's just, anyways,
Right.
it's
Right.
Nurkic. But he's kind of interesting. He's like all over the court all the time when he plays. Like I don't know, 7 rebounds last game against the Raptors. Which was actually today. Now that I'm looking at his stats, so we didn't watch that.
I,
Yeah, but 12 points against the 76ers, shot a lot, but fun guy. 2 blocks. Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, passes the eye test. Like, even though, like, I don't know, he's not amazing, but
But he's solid.
yeah, this is like an NBA player.
Yeah. I'd grab a beer with him.
I don't really know him like that.
Well,
I'm kind of
shit.
shy.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get Yusuf Nurkic to hop on this pod at some point. Yeah.
Um, do you want to go into standings predictions?
Let's do some standings.
This is
All right. What do we want to do? Just like compare like pick to pick? Go like that?
Yeah, let's go pick to pick.
All right, word. All right. So for my first pick, should we just go east and west or just east? Then what? Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious how we line up. East, west. I'm curious if we're the same here. I'm Celtics and Nuggets.
Same.
Word.
Oh, I like this. I actually like this. First seed, the second seed. Yeah.
Maybe we could go with like a bit of like a quick explanation, but we've already broken these teams down for 3 hours, as our loyal fans will know.
Yeah.
But I'm down to give like a brief thing. So what do you have Celtics and Nuggets at one?
Celtics best top end team in the East. To be honest, in the East, I will say that's also like the type of teams that usually end up. It's like if your top 6 guys are nice, you can figure out the rest of the bench. And then honestly, Nuggets the same thing, because in the West, as much as the West is oftentimes a place where like a lot of deep teams where teams are like fighting it out, a lot of times none of the other teams have their shit together, frankly. So until they do, my opinion can't change. And also, we're basing this off of the preseason, just to preface. Also, so these predictions will be not taking into account what we've seen 3 games in.
Yeah, so we can either support or go against what we predicted. So,
yeah. And honestly, what we've seen wouldn't change it.
Yeah, hopefully not. Okay, so second up, I have the Sixers in the East and the Kings in the West.
Wow.
So I guess I can explain mine first real quick. Sixers, I honestly feel like they can I feel like it's been validated by how they play, but with Maxey taking a step, I think Milwaukee will take a bit of time to catch up. And it doesn't have anything to do with how good Milwaukee could be. For the Kings, I mean, they were the 3rd seed last year, and I think these standings could go so fluid. And I think one of the things that could be like the difference between 1 seed and a different seed, not like the 1 seed overall, but like the 2 seed and the 6 seed could be health. So that's where I think the Kings get that side. Saw it last night with their overtime win against the Lakers. Like that's another championship contending team. And I think those are the types of games that the Kings could win. And if other teams are gonna be resting some of their older players, especially with the Suns, the Kings, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, all these teams have just older players. So I think that's where. Anyways, so those are my top twos.
So I had the 76ers as well. As much as James Harden drama, whether they have James Harden or not, I thought they'd be a good regular season team. And Nick Nurse, he's there. He's always a great coach, to be honest. I also had the Warriors in the West. That was actually who I had. This is also, I'm a Warriors believer. I was taking the over on the Warriors, emotionally and in terms of the Chris Paul fit. I can also completely understand how you would have the Kings up here, but that, I'm a Warriors believer. I'm always going to bet on Steph. And I think they have a deeper team than they've had previously, which is not the case with like the majority of these teams in the West. Also, Kings feel like they didn't really buy or like upgrade their team severely when I feel like a lot of other teams in the West did, which is why I slid them down in my predictions. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's our second. So third up, I got Milwaukee. I don't know if that's a hot take. I won't really get into it too much, but there are 3. Hot take time. I have the Timberwolves at 3. Now, they have not validated my expectations so far. Honestly, the way I'm kind of seeing it is they get their best perimeter defender back in Jaden McDaniels. I think Anthony Edwards could take a step. I think one more year of Cat and Rudy Gobert trying to figure out the offense. I think Rudy has been bad. I don't think he's inept necessarily. We'll see. If he turns into a glorified Andre Drummond, then I'll have to take my words back. But I think that Mike Conley is a steady hand at the point guard position. Could they be one of those teams that could also kind of like regular season their way through through showing us that they're good, as opposed to these other teams where they don't have to play. So also that's just a hot take.
I like it. I think it's spicy. I mean, I don't think the fits are perfect on that team, but talent wise, it's Naz Reid, love him.
Bro.
Cal Anderson, love him. Mike Conley, love that fit. Like getting Conley at the deadline last year and moving D'Lo out, I love that fit as well. I don't know. I think they're a really interesting team. I did not have the Bucks at 3rd in the East. I actually had the New York Knicks. Think they're a team that's really built for the regular season. They're super deep. Quickly, if he's a little better, that's going to be a team that's comfortable in terms of offensive firepower. Brunson, Randall, etc. If Randall doesn't get worse, I feel like they're a pretty easy top 4 team. And then in the West, I had the Phoenix Suns. Having seen the way the Suns are running their season and resting their guys, I probably would not put them 3rd. Kind of concerned about how they're just going to use their top guys. I kind of thought they were just going to play their top guys like 70 games this year, and I don't even think they're going to reach that. So as much as I like the Suns in terms of their top end talent and their bench is not even that bad. Eric Gordon had 25 a few nights ago. The way they're managing the resting is probably not going to mean they finish 3rd as much as I predicted it here.
Totally fair. I see that. I think we'll get into it right now. I mean, I can start snaking my draft this way, or my standings, but I have them 4th in the West. For kind of similar reasons, like you said about how are they going to run this? Their talent is just so overwhelming at the top that why couldn't they be just one of the best teams in the league and just beat these other teams that are kind of middling? But like you said, it depends on how the rest goes. If Bradley Beal can get fluid and the back issues kind of get better because he can be the 3rd option, he doesn't have to carry the load. He doesn't have to carry the weight of DC anymore. He gets to be the 3rd guy carrying Phoenix. It's like carrying something with some of your buddies around. It's a lot easier to lift it if you're holding one side of it rather than the whole thing. So, yeah, I'm with you, bro. But so that's why I have them at fourth, because I could see them being another like 46 win team that wins, and that's the fourth seed.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, we're on the same page, I think.
For sure. But so I have them, and then the Heat are my fourth team in the East. I think they over achieved compared to their final standing last year, which was initially the seventh seed before losing to the Hawks, falling to the eighth seed. So I think they jumped 3 seeds. This might be a bit foolhardy. However, I think there's 6 teams in the East that kind of separate themselves from the other ones, and I think they're just the fourth likeliest team to have a decent record. They get some regression to the mean. So I got Heat at 4.
I mean, I think that's fair. I'll have the Heat coming up here. I just had the Bucks at 4. I just think the fit and depth might not translate immediately. I think they'll probably still win 49 plus games, 50 plus games. And then on the other side, actually, at the 4th seed in the West, I had the Thunder. Similar reasons actually to you with the T-Wolves. I mean, they have their star. They have a lot of guys who fit around their star. Thunder, obviously, a lot younger of a team. But I kind of just like the fit of the team. I think their coach is really good. And I think Shea's probably better than anyone that a lot of other teams have in the West at this point. Still feel pretty confident about that into the season. And then I'll wrap right here actually really quick. My 5 seed, I had the Heat right behind. I just think the Knicks might overperform in the regular season.
Sure.
That's just why I had them bumped up at 3. And I think they probably will.
Yeah, and I can't wonder if the Knicks will just kind of rely on, okay, this is the team that we've been, and we can kind of coast a little bit. They might get there, which is why I had them at 5. This could be a 2-game difference overall. OKC, that's high, dude. That's I see that as very high. That big jump. We saw that happen with the Grizzlies, where they made it into the playoffs, but they made their way through the play-in tournament to get there. Can OKC kind of have this play-in experience, and then they make it up? That is a tough. I don't know. I don't quite see it, but that's why I have.
I'm kind of predicting them. I'm kind of predicting them to be the Kings of last year. To make that big jump with a team that I feel like fits pretty well.
Yeah. Right.
That's just why.
Yeah.
And I guess for you, your Kings prediction equivalent was the T-Wolves. So,
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I think that I think I'm kind of holding on to the Timberwolves are a little bit older, so they have some more of that experience. But at the same time, I think OKC is gonna shake up a lot of stuff. Just so much experience battling against every single one of these teams in the league. And Chet has been off the charts. Jalen Williams has been amazing. Lou Dort is great. They just have a young, fun team around Shea and Josh Giddey. So this is exciting, man.
Yeah, definitely. Did you give your 5 in the West?
So the 5 in the East was the Knicks. The 5 in the West for me is your boys, the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I don't know how much we need to get into it, but they're, I think, the best next team probably. That's we haven't said. So yeah, that's my 5.
Yeah. I mean, I have the Lakers here. Okay. Even in my preseason prediction, I honestly never thought they'd be that good in the regular season. Lakers and LeBron in general at this point in his career has never been a guy to press too hard in the regular season. So yeah, I had them at 5, and then I already picked the Warriors. So, because I'm going to be right.
I mean, we'll see. I'm rooting for your boys, but I got the Lakers at 6, so we just kind of flip-flop there a little bit on that. I think the Lakers They're just, I mean, it's that close, and something tells me the Warriors get this dub. We don't really know. And then at 6, I feel like we might have the same here. I'm curious if this is our cutoff, but the Cavs.
Yeah, so I had the Kings in the West, so that rounds
Okay.
out my Kings that I was missing
Right.
compared to yours, and then yeah, the Cavs in the East.
Okay. So we have the same top 6 in a different order, and then we have 5 out of the top 6, 4 out of the top 6, 5. Yeah, 5 similar.
Yeah,
But just Timberwolves versus OKC.
yeah. Which honestly, I think in the East, in the West, the thing is, things could change. The Clippers were healthy for the whole season. Pelicans
Right.
were healthy for a whole season. If I had
Right.
the guarantees, I'd change my prediction. And
Mhm.
one of those things might happen. But like, I think in the East, pretty clear hierarchy in terms of like top 6 teams and even top 3 teams. So
Yeah. That we move on to the plan.
yes. Who you got?
My 7, I'm putting the Pacers. That's one of my hot takes. So I think they have to just win one game, and then I got the Clippers.
I had the Clippers as well.
Mm.
I honestly don't even think they'll be that bad. Just won't
Yeah.
play games. Be as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
Whatever. I had the Raptors at 7.
Ooh.
This is
Okay.
a preseason prediction, and having seen them play, I would not rank them here. I was just pretty confident maybe Scotty Barnes taking a jump, Siakam performing, and also the team maybe overperforming after, it didn't seem like Nick Nurse had a great exit there.
Yeah.
If anything, it's kind of gone the reverse where the players are more hyped and they're losing more games. So if I had to redo this prediction, I would not put them here. But I feel like it was defendable at the time.
Yeah, at the time. Respect for standing on your business.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna wrap, then I had the Pacers at 8.
Okay. Yeah. Right there. Um,
We're
yeah.
both
For reasons we've talked about, just good young team, very exciting. My most improved player pick leading the way. I have 8. I have the Magic for more reasons we've talked about. And then here's where I have OKC. So I don't think I think they just need to win one game, and they're in. And then who knows? Then you're playing in my world the Kings in the first round. OKC versus Sacramento. That would be nuts.
That would be a fun series.
That'd be ridiculous.
I mean, I actually have a team we have not mentioned. I don't think we've mentioned on the podcast today yet. At 8 in the West, Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas.
I think Derek Lively is really good. I've thought this. I think he adds a physical rebounding / defensive presence that if you got anything out of him, he'd be pretty good. And honestly, seeing it this season, he's been like terrific. His on-off numbers terrific. The Luka plus Lively lineup compared to like other lineups, terrific. But even at the time, I was fairly confident in this. I thought last year went about as poorly as it could have gone, and they still probably should have been the 10th seed in the West. They got Kyrie halfway, made some upgrades. So yeah, I have them up here. Still don't think they're that good, but I think Luka's this good.
Yeah. I'm with you. Luka's just gonna carry them. He's already had a 47 point game and then a 35-point triple double to start the season. He's filthy. They addressed the needs that they were looking for in the draft, which is size and defense, and they got that. So they took the steps that they needed to get better. Kyrie and Luka get another season to kind of get to gel a little bit more. I like Josh Green a decent amount. He's a good player. At the same time, they're young. And so the parts of the team that they need to improve are young, so they're going to get their licks as they go along slowly but surely. I like Lively a lot. And that's why my quick weave down is just for my 9th in the West, it's Dallas. So
fair enough.
But who's your 9th?
Minnesota. This is where I had Minnesota, actually.
Okay.
This is not representative, to be honest, of like how I think their talent is.
Yeah.
Fits or their fit. Actually, it is representative of their fits as a team, but their talent is off the charts. I think they're really good. I just think Naz Reid is probably better than Rudy Gobert at this point, and like there's weirdness there, pretty injury prone. Unless Ant takes like a severe step, I still don't really see them being that much better. We didn't really see the Towns Gobert lineup at all last year, playoffs or regular season. Like they were injured off and on, and avoided a lot of minutes between each other, which is disappointing. And we're gonna see it now. I just need to see it to believe it. I really don't believe in the Gobert Towns combo. This is not an indictment on Ant Edwards at all.
Yeah, very valid.
No.
One of the few trades we've looked at and gone, does this make sense? And I think everybody was kind of right in this doesn't make any sense, and it ended up being so.
Yeah. Who do you have at 9?
The trading partner of the Mavs who should have held on to Luka, dumbasses, the Hawks. So yeah, the Hawks feel like a 9 seed type of team to me. Haha, there we go. I think we talked about them. Their point guards. They don't have a top 5 point guard duo in the Eastern Conference. Celtics have a better point guard duo. Sixers are about to have a better point guard duo. The Knicks have a better point guard duo. The Cavs have a better guard duo. So a lot of teams with better guard duos, and your front court is not that good.
Totally agree. I have the Hawks a lot lower actually, so I'll save my statements on the Hawks for later. But here again, preseason prediction had the Chicago Bulls at 9. Given the way the season's going, not super confident. I still think it's fully possible. The season's going about as bad as possible, and they still don't look like a completely terrible basketball team. They feel like destined to be a 9th or 10th or 11th seed in the. So I had them at 9, right behind the Pacers here, but yeah.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm with you. We've talked about them. I just see them headed for a trade. So, all right. Yeah, nothing too much, but okay. I got my 10. So rounding out the play-in tournament, Brooklyn Nets. Maybe they have some fun. Maybe Mikhail kind of takes a step. They get it together, and they put in a good showing in the Eastern Conference as it really is. They can beat up on these teams that they should be able to beat. So I have them, and then I have at 10 New Orleans Pelicans. This is not an indictment of anything, but where's Zion? What's he going to be? And what he's going to be recently has not been there. So that's where I got to put him.
I think it's very reasonable. I had the Magic here just because, needed to pick them once I had the Bulls and whatnot. Nets are a great pick. We'll wrap later, but I actually have the Nets at 11, so totally fair. I kind of agree with your Pelicans point. Like, we have them within one spot as well. My next one at 11 is the Pelicans. I just had the Grizzlies ahead of them here. I honestly think I'm probably potentially even too low on them. If Ja comes back, they do have a top 15 guy, plus the defensive player of the year guy, plus Desmond Bane. They have the ability to be good once they figure their stuff out, but they are missing, due to long-term injury, just some key contributors. So I have them at 10th here. I also now moving to the 11th spot. The Pelicans, my thing there is that I decided going into the season, I was just going to assume Zion's playing 20 games. So I had them 11th. I think between Trey Murphy being hurt, still a young team, another year of Brandon Ingram carrying the team with CJ McCollum while they wait around for Zion. That was kind of the mindset there. And who knows, it could still happen. But 3 games in, 2 games in, Zion's look pretty good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just kind of circling back to Grizzlies real quick for my, no surprise, 11th seed. I just think they're going to struggle to recover once Ja gets back. It's going to take some time for them to round back into form. I'm really concerned about their lack of depth as well. There's a big question mark for them last year. It's kind of why they lost, I think, in the playoffs against the Lakers. So I just don't really see them taking a step forward anytime soon. So is this time for them to develop? And if this opening part of the season goes, man, they'd be lucky to be 6-9, I think. So what's that for 25 games rather? I think they'd be lucky to be 11-14, maybe 10-15. And then they'd have to go gangbusters to close out the season to really jump in the rankings. I don't see that happening. And then another familiar team we've talked about, the Raptors. I had them at 11 for reasons you just described. Don't really see an identity. I could see the team getting blown up sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're very reasonable there, especially what we've seen this season.
Yeah,
it just kind of feels like they're moving towards being a younger, energetic team. I don't hate them though. I kind of like what I'm seeing. I don't know. In a weird way, the team seems to semi make sense, even though they're really not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that stunk. It's always semi made sense. It's always been like, I think you might have had the Raptors ranked like relatively well, I thought a couple years ago. No? Did you have them ranked relatively high
Yeah.
last year?
Oh, last year, going into last year, I had them ranked, I think, second in the East or something.
Right. Like they weren't, I think I had them ranked in my playoffs too.
Yeah.
So
Blew up in my face completely. And like
yeah.
Scotty Barnes
Mm-hmm.
would not have been the rookie of the year. I still Vegas owes me money. I should have had it should have been Evan Mobley. I put in a $5 bet like the day he was drafted.
Messed up.
Lost that. I was like, dude, come on.
Scotty, he's not beating those allegations. I'll tell you that right now. Anyways.
Insane.
Halloween costume?
Yes, I did.
Okay. That's good. Anyways.
Dick. Number 12 in the East that I had is Atlanta. So
okay. There's that.
I predicted this before the season because I just think the pieces didn't fit, thought the front court was bad, etc. And I still don't think that. I still think that. I still think that doesn't fit. But they are way more exciting to watch than I thought. I have been talking about Jalen Johnson for a while, and he is super fun to watch. I can't get enough of him. DeJounte looks really good, and it's almost like they're bad because Trey's been bad. As much as I had them 12th here, totally could see them doing a lot better than that. Pretty interesting. They're not going to be good on defense, so be it. But they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Great league pass team.
And then in the West, I had the Jazz, which I kind of feel like you might have here too.
I did. They feel like the separator between the teams that could conceivably make the play-in and then the rebuilding teams.
Exactly. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
They'll be fun. They'll be fun though, and they'll be frisky, and they'll knock some people. They'll beat some teams like late season just because they're so deep. They've got 10, 11, 12 guys on that team too.
I think this team is the epitome of our point earlier. This is the deepest the league has ever been.
Yeah.
Because the Utah Jazz might win 34, 33 games, and they have multiple guys who you could be like, oh, Jordan Clarkson, here's a guy. Walker Kessler, here's a guy. And then, of course, Lauri Markkanen, he's really good.
Sexton, here's a guy. John Collins, here's a guy. Keontae George, here's a guy. Kelly Olynyk, here's a guy. Dude, it goes down the list.
It does.
And it's a lot of guys I would love to see on their own team. I would love to see John Collins get a chance to ball out and start and play 35 minutes. But yeah, that's the league.
Yeah. So we agree on that.
Yeah. You want to take it?
We agree on here. I have a 13th for both the Hornets and the Rockets.
Hornets and the Rockets. Same. Bang.
What to say? Oh my, oh no way. Terry Rozier, best player. LaMelo, but Terry Rozier, second best player on the Hornets. So that's, I think, why they are where they are.
I will say 3 games in, think the Hornets might do better than this. Think they might be in playing talks. They got a lot of talent.
Okay.
And I don't want to support that franchise. So
Yeah. It's tough to, but respect it. All right. And you had 13 for Houston as well?
Yeah, 13 for Houston as well. I mean, I feel like the 2 bottom barrel teams of both going into the season was pretty evident,
Don't have the same level of talent.
Yeah.
And experience.
Yeah, so 14, I had the Pistons.
Same.
In the East. And 14, I had the Spurs in the
Same.
West. Yeah. And then the thing is here, it's it's all degrees. Now to wrap this up, East 15 Wizards, Portland Trailblazers 15 the West.
Yes.
It's whatever. It's all degrees of how good they are. The Trailblazers could finish higher than this, etc. Whatever. I just think Spurs, they got Wemby, probably puts them above the Blazers. Rockets have more established talent, probably puts them above the Spurs. And then honestly, kind of say the same about Wizards, Pistons, Hornets. Pistons, they have Cade. Cade alone probably puts them ahead of the Wizards at this point. And then the Hornets probably just have a little bit more NBA talent than the other 2 teams.
Yep, I totally agree. We'll talk about these teams as the season goes on, but I don't have too much more to add analysis wise. I yeah, they're just going to be fun NBA League Pass teams.
Totally.
And
And Steph Curry just had a 42-point game, by the way. So that's time recording. Light
That
work.
was good.
Pelicans washed.
Oh, he's good. Oh, are the Pelicans #washed? Here on Spittin Hoops, we call the future.
LeBron said it, dude. LeBron said, dude, I saw the Pelicans. I knew they were washed. No, like, just making up shit.
Just making up business. Yo, real quick. Some more. The Blazers beat the Raptors on your take. The Bulls beat the Pacers. Tough. Thunder beat the Pistons convincingly. Bucks are blowing a lead to the Heat. What else is new? And the Mavericks are about to close out the Grizzlies.
Easy.
We love the NBA.
We do love the NBA. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on? I think I'm pretty good on my end.
Oh, boy. I mean, it's just so great to be back. I don't know about you. Are you about to watch this Magic Lakers game a little bit?
Probably, honestly. There's so many games on today. This is like a marathon of basketball. I'm probably going to finish out like Jazz Nuggets, though.
Yeah, just have fun with it. Oh, I like that. That's a good looking game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Real quick, though. What's the okay. So for this game, over under, Max, let me ask you now. Lakers -4. What are you taking?
I'll take the Lakers.
Lakers -4.
Triple down. Yeah.
Ooh. Let me put the Magic.
He's a betting man. If you guys couldn't tell, viewers, he's a betting man.
Hope I don't lose money. But hey, that's the Spittin Hoops kind of math. If you both bet one way, you both can't get it quite wrong, like we've done so many times in this podcast.
Something like that.
Anyways.
You want to take us away?
Yeah. But love you, fans. And keep chilling. We'll be back at some point relatively soon, relatively later. Chilling, Spittin Hoops, having a good time. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.